That's what disappointment and frustration does. Disappointment and frustration has the ability to choke your life out, choke your vision, to choke the passion that you have, to choke the life that you have. Disappointment, disappointment, disappointment. Time after time, you've been disappointed. And now you stopped even setting goals for your life. You don't even set goals no more because you've been disappointed. And so you're looking at the past, but there's a burning passion inside of you, the real you that's looking towards the future. But the mind bully in your head, the negative voice in your head, the inner talk narrative in your head, the inner critic in your head, the limiting beliefs that you've lived your whole life has you looking on the past. And that's the voice you can't get past. Let's do it. Welcome back, Mind Bully Podcast, a podcast focused on beating the hell out of your negative voice. This here fine young brother with the dreads and the red shirt, you feel me? Because Christmas Day was just there, you feel me? If it's a little young on my body, you feel me? I got it from a thrift store. So mind your business. This is a podcast where we focus on overcoming the negative voice, your inner critic. As this plane goes away, hopefully I can get it off the sound. This podcast is a podcast focused on really changing the way that you see yourself and the way that you talk to yourself by challenging yourself. To start this podcast off, I wanted to do the episode on the next year, the new year, 2025, and I don't like to be basic, to be honest, just to start. I don't like to be basic and do the things where everybody else is doing. 2025 episode, do this, do this, do this, and have all these lists planned out on how you can make your 2025 the best. Last year, if you go back, I did that. And in attempts to be so original and so different, I landed on literally the same thing. Thinking about 2025 and how you and I can move and become all that we are. And, for my story, for my journey in this podcast and doing content, I've recognized the flows and the stages from episodes after episodes with guests in the past to simply now just me and you. To the next phase, which will be episodes with guests and one-on-ones. And I'm using that to start as an example because I recently listened to my episode last year. January 1, 2024, I did an episode about this year. And it's so powerful what you can learn about yourself and recap on the year about what you knew that you were going to do and that what you did. It's so powerful. If that doesn't make sense, who cares? But I know this. As you step into this new year, as you step into this next year, as you set the intention, you set the play and you run it. If you listen to that episode, I said that over and over. Set the play and run it. You run it. You run it. You run it. If you challenge yourself to really stick to your word, to stick to what you say, to stick to what you actually want to do with this next year, if you challenge yourself and discipline yourself to do it, I'm telling you, your progress will amaze you. If I was to go back and look at my year, the content really started popping off in April. But I've said this before, the preparation stage for that pop off, for the content that I do on this bridge or I do at a different area on a rooftop where 97% of you are new, the whole concept, it started in November and it started in December of last year, of 2024. But you see, when you look at it, it's November, December, January, February, March, April is when I finally saw fruit from the seeds that I planted. Why am I saying this? Why am I using myself as an example? Because nowadays you want to do anything. Social media is important. Social media, getting your face out there, your brand, your likeness, letting people know who you are is important. And for me, I really set the intention, set the play to really build my audience. I don't care about this deal. It's build my audience. Have people understand who I am. If you're listening to this and you want to grow, if you're in a transition stage, for me, leaving the game of basketball, everything I've known, I've poured my heart, my blood, sweat, tears into this game, and trying to shape this life off this podcast, how I can tackle and challenge the overcoming the negative voice and challenging the self-narrative that we have inside of ourselves and opening the door to actually discuss taboo topics that nobody else talks about and doing it in different avenues, whether it's with the NBA, NBPA, and different ideas and different concepts and all these different speeches I've done with different organizations. I had that passion. I arrested my attention to do that, to speak to people. And for me, when you have a vision, if you're listening to this right now, and you have so much and you've planned so much, like this week, I looked back at all my old notebooks and looked at all my notes on my notes app. And it's so funny because a lot of the things that I'm doing now, I wrote it then. The content, the cinematography, photography, the modeling, I did it then. I wrote it then. I was so inspired by other people doing it. I'm like, okay, I want to do it. And I just wrote it. But at the time, I was still in my head. I'm like, why am I not doing it now? Why am I not doing it now? Why does it not look like this? I'm saying this because I know if you're listening, you have so much passion inside of you and you want to do a lot. It's about writing it down. Even the Bible, the good book, write the vision and you make it plain. For me, I still have the trouble and the struggle of making it plain. I'll write all these things and I'm like, God, give me something to work with. Why am I saying this again? It's because when I looked at my story this week, and I looked at, for the Mind Bully page, I was at less than 900 followers. Now I'm at 103,000 and counting. And King No, I was at 9,000 followers. Now I'm at 117,000 and counting. And that's just on IG. And there's different platforms. Why am I saying that? In a 6 months period, it was being able to accomplish that. And there's so many people like, oh, starting courses and all this. This is how I achieve this in 6 months. And yeah, I should probably take advantage and help people do what I've done, I've been able to do. But my whole point in saying that is there's a stage where you need to set the plan, set the goal, set the vision, set where you want to go, set it. Right now is that stage for you. Right now is that stage for me. This is, if you think this is, boy, this is not even a small fraction of who I'm going to become and who I am. This is a bit of it. And I'm reminding myself that every single day. I need you to remind yourself every single day. This is the brokest you'll ever be, the less thought of you ever be, down and out you ever be. This is it. This is it. This is it. And so if that's the case, one needs to acquire a new mindset to become the person they were meant to be. It's time to leave the past in the past, man. The past is holding us down. They're weights. And we're trying to move and we can't. Because the thoughts, the opinions of the past and people in the past, if you're listening or watching, I did 4 fingers. I don't know, because there's a lot. Anyways, the past is the past. And we never leave the past in the past. That means the way that we see ourselves, it's over. It's over. It's over. 2025, it's over. You think that I can't do it. I can't do it. I've never done it before. Of course, that is chest clap. That is the reason why it's time to do it. Because the thought in you will never die. You'll always want to do it. It's never going to be a time where you're, oh, well, I don't want to do it because, I just don't want to do it. No, you'll always want to do it. And that's what disappointment and frustration does. Disappointment and frustration has the ability to choke your life out, choke your vision, to choke the passion that you have, to choke the life that you have. Disappointment, disappointment, disappointment. Time after time, you've been disappointed. And now you stopped even setting goals for your life. You don't even set goals no more because you've been disappointed. And so you're looking at the past, but there's a burning passion inside of you, the real you that's looking towards the future. But the mind bully in your head, the negative voice in your head, the inner talk narrative in your head, the inner critic in your head, the limiting beliefs that you've lived your whole life has you looking on the past. And that's the voice you can't get past. Today, I need you to get past. And to get past is a actual choice to get past. It's not on you to say, well, there evidence of me never getting past is why I will never get past. You are looking at the wrong evidence. There's evidence of God's hand on your life. Even as you feel like you didn't get past, there's evidence. The burning desire to keep going is evidence of God saying, I have placed purpose on your life. I have placed purpose on your life. I have placed a gift in your life. There is a time in your life to dedicate your time to your life and to set the play for your life. I'm here to tell you the time is right now. The time is now. The time is now. I don't care how many other people will say the time is now. The time is. I'm telling you the time for you listening, watching is now. Is now. So what will you do with this time right now? How do you dedicate your time, your energy, your awareness, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions into sitting with yourself and saying, I don't want this to continue. I don't want to keep agreeing with this negative thought that tells me I have to be perfect, 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 perfect in everything that I do, to the point that I don't show up as me. That's what a lot of us do. We chase perfection. Even me with this podcast, even me with content. I sit there and I edit. And I lose the essence of who I am. Because why? I want to make it all perfect and the color grade looks stupid because I didn't record it right. No, there's a standard of excellence you need to have, you want to have, I want to have with what I produce. But it comes to a point where you're choking out who you are by nitpicking everything. You look at the bad. I talked about this on episode, maybe it's the last one, maybe it's the one before, about judging yourself. I do that a lot. I put so much pressure on myself due to the athletic background to where all I see is flaws and I'm trying to be perfect. And then you wake up, you look in the mirror and you don't like what you see. Not saying I don't, because honestly, I like what I see. But example, you don't like what you see because you only see the flaws. If I'm looking or I'm thinking about that mirror example, that's how I look at my content. I look at my content and I just see flaws. It's the Lord speaking through me, so I'll still feel it like, dang. But the times where I don't feel it, I just see flaws. Even if I feel it, I'll just see flaws. Flaws in everything. Knowing that, man, you got to switch it up. You got to do this. And you put so much weight on you and you carry the burden. If you're listening, if you're watching this, you carry the burden, the pains of the day, the trials of the day. You carry it on. And then you carry it on what people say about you or what people said about you and what your community said about you or what you've learned from the values in your home that said about you. Below the level of your awareness, you're carrying that on. And you're actively trying to fight past what you've been carrying on. You don't want to be a failure in your life. You want to win in your life. There's people in your life that says your genes are flawed. You'll always be a failure. You'll never leave this city. You'll never leave this town. You'll never grow into this dream. What do you think you are? Thinking that you're going to do X, Y, Z? That's been the community talking. But I need you to talk to that voice. And it's not based on your feelings. It's based on a solid word. I can do all things All things, all things, all things, all things through Christ, not through me, not through my intellect, not through the work of my hands, not through me pleading and prying and kissing up to everybody, not through me, oh, I got to make this relationship and shake this hand even though I don't like him. No, through Christ, who strengthens me, who strengthens you. I don't know how to live without Christ. I don't understand. If you're listening, if you're watching, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. And it's not just like, oh, I'm better. No, it's a free invitation. Christ is after your heart. If you're listening, if you're watching this, he's after your heart, after your heart, after your mind, after your will, after your soul, after you. That's why you feel the unrest. You feel empty because you don't have foundation in you. You are not built to live life without Christ. Man shall not live on bread alone. You've been eating all the other opinions of what people are saying, eating your feelings, eating your opinions, eating this, eating. You've been feeding on the food that does not sustain. That's why you call yourself a seeker. You seek, 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 you seek. You get this opinion, you get this opinion. You get this word of wisdom, you get this word of wisdom. You package it together, it's confusion. It's confusion. Try Jesus. It's a free invitation. I'm a sinner. God, I need a Savior. Come into my heart. Be my Lord and Savior. I believe that you died for my sins. You rose and you've placed and you gave me your spirit. It's not oh, I'm better than you. It's an invitation. And sometimes even on this, I'd be like, I'm not trying to preach. I'm not trying to preach at you. But if I say I love you, which I do, I'm going to need you to know the truth. And when the truth flows, I yield. I don't quench the spirit. I don't quench and put it out and just use my intellect and say, keep it on track of the 2025. And this is the biggest decision of your whole life right here. You understand? It's an invitation. If you don't take it, cool. It's your problem. Just know when judgment day come at the end of all of this, you're going to have to approach the throne of grace, approach the throne of glory and attest and account to what you've done, what I've done. I'm going to have to do that too. Thankfully, he gave his son to say, oh, yep, that one's good. That one's good. That's called a just relationship, a right relationship. If I'm in a courtroom, Father God is the judge, my mediator, my defense counselor. You understand? It's Jesus Christ. That's why I can approach the throne of grace at the throne of glory with confidence. And I'm bold because I have boldness and confidence with access through faith in his name. My nose is dripping as I'm doing this, but I'm just passionate about purpose. And I know if you're watching this, listening to this right now, you have purpose. You have a purpose. And you've confused yourself. Well, you have. You've confused yourself because you've agreed with the negative voice, your mind bully, that tells you you're worthless, useless, no purpose. That's confusion. Because you know deep down inside, unintelligible to speak in words. You know, it's a knowing. You can't even tell, like, no, I have purpose because this. Sometimes you're so tired that you get tired of fighting back, of speaking back to that voice. But you know that you have purpose. It's for a reason. And what I'll say in this season is to never get tired of fighting back. Easier said than done. You had kids, they come back from work, they come back from school, not work, whatever. They come back from school. They're on their break right now, and they're annoying the hell out of you, and they're all in your ear. Oh, mommy, do this. I'm like, dang, Christmas just came, and I just gave y'all all these gifts. You still on my nerves, in my mind? And you're tired. And so you're on your walk. You're getting a workout in, and you hear this. It's the time to really sit with this and to understand that you are not a role. God did not place you on earth to just be a role. Well, I'm a parent, I'm a wife, I work this job. You are not a role. You're somebody with purpose that can see clearly, that has the opportunity, that has the chance to plan their life based on the purpose they have inside of them. Why am I saying that? It's because sometimes when you attach your role, like me, podcast host, speaker, content creator, doing all these things, you have these roles and you detail your next year based on the roles that you have. But the roles that you have are not you. And that's a word for me. They're not me. That's why I'm so glad to have a podcast, because I didn't think about any of this before that hand, but really that. I get so caught up in content, podcast, that I switch. And I'm planning my year based on those things. That's limited. You're limiting who you are as you yield and say, God, use me. I'm a yielded vessel. You use me. If I got to go here, I'm going to go here because I know your hand is here if you're guiding me there. The door is open. I'm walking through it. You're letting go of how you think that it's supposed to play out in your life. You think you're this role. Come next year, you switch your whole job. You changed everything because you yielded. My whole life, let me say 8th grade, NBA player, NBA player, NBA player, NBA player. Fighting back. Didn't make the team 7th grade. People say, oh, that's crazy. That's how I encourage kids now that I talk to. Like, bro, them little kids talking about, oh, we the best. Bro, all them kids in my middle school, respectively, is it? Respectfully, excuse me, whatever. All them little kids, they didn't play college ball. And it's not to be like, oh, I played. No, it's reality. It's to look at your time now. How can you, outside of comparison, how can you improve? I had a vision since then, NBA. Why am I saying that? Because it's a great example to use. Because we know these stories that we have of childhood and the lessons that we learned. But for me, I don't take enough time to look into the lessons that I've learned and to attribute it to where I am now. Because it's the same story. Comparison is the principle there. Stop comparing yourself. I can rant on that, but that's not where I'm trying to hit. For me, NBA, 8th grade, 9th grade, A team or B team, not great. 10th grade, I was finally on the varsity. 11th grade, finally got some minutes. 12th grade, I got some minutes. I started, but I didn't have the points, the averages that I wanted to actually be a Division I basketball player. So, I was faced with a choice. All my friends are going to their colleges of their dreams, their colleges where they're playing, their scholarships. And I'm like, none of these little colleges that I got is serious. And they're not high major. What should I do? I ended up going to an Elevate prep school, another year. Think about it. My twin brother, I have a twin brother. He's a doctor now. Shout out to my boy, Nick. And my older sisters are twins as well. Shout out to them. But anyways, when I graduated college, I'm glad I'm using the Letterman right now. 2013, North Crowley Panthers going all the way. We just won state in the state of Texas anyways for football. But I went to North Crowley, graduated 2013. My twin brother goes to Texas Tech. Me, I had no Texas Tech offer. So guess where I got my butt to? Elevate Academy in Florida. Thankfully, I had a scholarship. Why am I saying this? Because the time of my life that I realized now in hindsight that changed everything is the time of real pain, the real agony, the real testing that I had back then. If you place yourself in the shoes of a kid that is working so hard, was cut from 7th grade, 8th grade, he's on the C team, 9th grade, he's barely going. All these kids, I'm an immigrant parents, I'm Nigerian in the household, I'm a black, big, bold, got teeth, African in the school. Then I pick up the game of basketball. This orange basketball gave me a ticket to life, gave me a ticket to friends, gave me a ticket to, I'm confident now because I have something that people like. I've used that, I've worn that as my identity, and now I'm at the stage where I can't do it anymore. I don't see where I should be. I'm looking at all these kids that I've played against. They getting D1, D1, D1. I had D none, D0. And you may be at that stage right now where you see your peers elevating and you're in this broken state. You're in this tough state where you have to bet on yourself. Thankfully, the Lord was always been with me, but gave me an open door of a prep school and going to a prep school. And there's no guarantees in that prep school. And there's no signed off on that prep school. And there's no job title that I think that I'm going to have on that prep school. Why am I saying that? Because the tension stage that you're in, the transition stage that you're in, you're looking for a role for an exact way that it's going to be when it's none of that. Because if it had any of that, certainty is what it's called. If it had certainty, you wouldn't need faith. This time of your life demands faith. The story goes, I end up the last month, signing day is coming up. I still had no offers. Still had no offers at the school in Florida. And I'm killing. We play the whole McDonald's team. What is it? There's this big team in Virginia. I'm blanking right now. We play all of them, and I kill. I'm having a great year. I have highlights and everything going, but no team sees it. Thankfully, I've told this story a million times. My brother that's been on this podcast, Steven Spurlock, one of my teammates, we were in his room one day, and we were just speaking about how we came. He came from an area in Dallas. I came from Fort Worth, Texas at the time. And I'm like, bro, we came all the way out here to Florida to get offers to go D1, and we have nothing. We just wasted our time. And there's a stage where you wrestle and you talk to friends like you are right now. You're talking to friends, you're feeling. But then there comes the action stage. And I'm so glad he was an action guy. He was like, Lawrence, upstairs. You know it's the film room, right? You know we could go pull the clips, right? You know we could pull the clips and make highlight tapes, right? To send to different colleges, right? You know we have agency, right? You know we have an opportunity, right? To change our lives, right? You know that we're just not going to sit here and ask for handout when these coach, obviously, they not helping us, right? He didn't say all that, but I'm going back. That's why it's so fire to have this. I'm going back and reliving it. You know you have agency for you. I'm a pause. You have agency, right? It's not to just sit on your hands, right? You can actually do something about your life right now, right? And so I go upstairs. We pull the tape. We make highlight tapes, and we position ourselves. We didn't just go after everybody. We said, okay, what school needs a big man? What school needs a guard? What school do they need the talents that I have? I positioned my highlight tapes. I put diving on the floor on there. Yes, I don't need you to know that I'm about that. I'm not just about scoring and all these different things. I put everything. I highlighted myself. Steven highlighted himself, and it's a good moment. It's a good moment to realize this right now, because I feel like I'm in a transition stage right now to where I'm not making a dime off this. I've never made a dime off this. I have from different projects with Texas Tech and different things, and speaking engagements and different things like that. But when it comes just uniquely from the material, no dime, just partnerships, all this. I haven't made a dime from this. And so it's like, okay, Lawrence, as the years go on, you're going to have to make a dime to make your life to show up as you. You know, obviously I need some little cheddar cheese. I'm privileged to be able to be 29 years old. Yes, boy, at my parents' house. Thankfully, God blessed us with 8,000 square foot house, beautiful. They living nice. Anyways, and Nigerian culture, you stay in the home until you don't have to. Anyways, and I'm cool with that. I've talked about this on podcasts before. Nonetheless, because I have ADD. I'm not ADD, but I have ADD. There's a distinction because you got to speak life into your life. Anyways, knowing that I'm afforded with the opportunity right now to really dive into the content, to dive into personal development, self-improvement, to coaching, to whatever I want to do, to dive in to helping you overcome this negative voice, to dive in to creating safe space for people to feel seen, to feel heard, to feel respected, to feel appreciated. Knowing that this is a time, a tension stage, a transition stage, parallels Elevate Academy Nords. And right now, just even hearing that story for me, it's like, if I can position myself, if we can position ourselves to highlight the gifts, the talents, the traits that we have, and to showcase it to the world. How did we do that back then? We showcased it to the world. We highlighted our abilities and we just started sending emails to different coaches all over the country. Literally, hours later, I get pings from all coaches, Washington, Georgia, Miami, Texas. I got offered by every school in Texas except for UT. I hate UT. Anyways, long story short, the story goes, Tubby Smith, I liked him. My mommy wanted, oh, your twin brother goes to Texas Tech? Choose Texas Tech. The story goes, I went to Texas Tech. My boy went to a D1 college. Why did I use that as an example? It's because of the time right now, as my nose ring gets caught in my hair. The time right now that we're in is a transition stage, just like I was in high school. And if you get anything out of this story, out of this big, beautiful man, 6'9", talking all over the place, get this, that this is a stage for you to step into, spit it out, Nords. This is a stage for you to step into what God has for you. But God demands faith in you. God ain't gonna show you the whole staircase because you wouldn't need faith. I'm gonna need you to get tougher. You understand? You already are tough, but you can't see it. Activate that toughness, the courage, the energy, the passion, the light that you have inside of you, and use that emotion to push you forward. 2025 is your year. It is. It is. It is your year. It is. It is. It is. Because my God watches over his word to perform his word. As you speak his word, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. He watches that and says, check, I gotcha, check. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You don't see no evidence. Faith is the substance that attains what you're hoping for, that grasps what you're hoping for, the evidence of the hope that's not seen. That's the faith part. That's the faith part. And for me, in this stage of my life, I need to remember that. I talk about faith a lot because how is the just supposed to live without faith? The Bible says the just, the declared righteous, after we did the whole come to God salvation moment, impromptu, that I just felt prompted to do earlier. After you have that moment, okay, if you're a new baby, how do you eat? A newborn, that's what it's called. It's a new birth. If your spirit, God places his spirit inside of you and nothing changes on the outside, but boom, instantaneously, your spirit changes. That's the faith part. And so, I have a new spirit, a new way of living. How do I live? I'm just, declared just, righteous before Christ. Okay, I'm supposed to live by faith, is what the Bible says. And so if you live by faith and not by what you see, not by what you smell, not by what you hear, not by any of your senses, your life will transform and turn into a life that you couldn't even imagine. Because he does exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask or think. If you think so much, just as I do with my big fat head, and I'm sweating and I'm standing right under the beams, the rays of the sun. If you think a lot like me, if you ask a lot like me, still not enough for God. Still not big enough for God. He goes beyond that, but he requires you to get bold with your faith. As I'm speaking right now, there's people to the right of me. Come on, people. If they don't want to come on, cool. But I'm looking at my phone and I'm checking the times that I've gone on here because I never edit. I never look at anything. I think it's important to be able to showcase as a real human being and not trying to have everything planned out and have everything postured like it's figured out. No, I am a guy that has left the game of basketball. I still don't know if it's permanently, but I have a conviction to serve. I have a conviction, and I speak with my Father God every single morning. And I say, God, what do you want out of me today? And today, this was it. And so for that conviction, for this story, for this mission, I need your help to overcome your negative voice, to confront your negative voice. I need your help to share this, to like this, to support this, because it's not my podcast. I always say this. It's our podcast. If you've taken the time to listen all the way to this point, it's our podcast. This is our journey. This is our mission. And my mission is always to give you permission to be yourself. And to how can that happen is to have more of these conversations, is to involve your head, your environment with more of these conversations that frees you. I know it freed me. Hopefully it freed you. More of this, because we have so much of it on social media that doesn't free us, that keeps us in bondage, that keeps us looking the ways that we shouldn't look. For more of these conversations to be had, we need more hearts and homes to be flooded with this conversation. So if you do me a favor, rate and review and send it to a friend, it will do the most. Also, at King No on IG, at Mind Bully Podcast on IG as well. And to have a beautiful new year. 2025 is your year, it's my year, it's our year. Let's do it together, but it starts with faith. It starts with knowing the purpose that we have on the inside. Okay? You like that? Me too. Bye. Thanks, God.